Hey everybody, we just got back from Emory today and had immunotherapy number 9.
Woo!
And so we thought it would be a good chance to come in here and give you kind of an update of everything that's going on the cancer side. And then with all this coronavirus pandemic going on, honestly, just kind of wanted to give you kind of what we saw today and kind of what's going on that side.
If I'm honest, I'm scared as hell, and I don't think that I'm doing well. If you ask, I'll be doing just fine, but I wouldn't tell you otherwise.
Got up bright and early this morning and made our way down to Emory. And right now in the state of Georgia, we're in what they're calling a shelter in place. They're advising nobody, you don't leave the house unless you just have to get food, medical, obviously for what ours was today, and
Or unless you're one of those wonderful essential workers.
yes, for sure. There's a lot of people out there taking care of us on the front lines that never get enough credit, but maybe they finally will through all this. And so last Friday, my doctor actually called, and I was able to take part in the first telehealth call from Emory for a cancer patient. I know they've been pushing it for quite a few weeks now in a lot of the other medical fields and everything, but for Winship down at Emory in the cancer part, I got to be part of the first one, and our Dr. Carolyn.
Yeah, Dr. Caroline, she immediately said she thought of us when they were looking for somebody they thought would be tech savvy enough to help them test their systems and see how it would work, because she remembers our YouTube channel. She tunes in and watches us.
Yeah, it's funny. A lot of the doctors and nurses down there tune into our channel every week, and we've built up a good.
We have a great rapport with all the doctors, nurses, and staff down there. They're just fabulous people.
Yeah, so we've made some really good friends down there. So they tune into us. So anyways, they knew that we kind of did that, and so they thought of us as being the first ones. That way, if there was any glitches, any problems, we could kind of help them work through that, in addition to doing the doctor's visit. I mean, that was first and foremost, obviously, but
Certainly.
they just knew that since we kind of did this, the YouTube thing, that they knew that we'd have the patience and understanding if they did have problems. Now,
We'd be a good test run.
yeah, and I've been pretty good at being a guinea pig through this whole cancer thing too, so we took some experimental drugs too. So, but anyways, it went off without a hitch. It was really wonderful. My doctor was actually even able to examine the surgery site through the video feed, and so it was actually pretty amazing.
Well, and she did make sure to tell us if there was anything we felt like needed to actually have hands on it. If he was having any issues that needed to be seen in person, they would definitely schedule that appointment and get him in. But luckily he's doing well, and there was no need for that, so the telehealth appointment went fantastic.
And so what that did was that helped eliminate having to sit in that waiting room and being the face-to-face to the doctor, because obviously that's everything that's going on right now is about limiting, your face-to-face with anybody that you can. And so that allowed us to just go straight to the lab, get the lab work done, and then we could just go straight down to the infusion center and get the immunotherapy done. And so we really didn't know what to expect. Seeing news reports, you don't really know what to believe or not to believe on the news
Right.
anymore. I hate to say that, but that's just kind of the way it is. It reminds me of a good quote Zig Ziglar used to always say, every day he gets up and he reads the Bible and he reads the newspaper. That way he knows what both sides are doing. And
It's kind of how it feels these days.
kind of how it feels sometimes.
Yeah.
Anyways, so we normally, you get to drive up and they have valet parking, and so we just get up and go straight in the hospital. But doing this immunotherapy and the infusion lab, there is a lot of people battling cancer
Yes.
at this place.
It's always packed.
And so it's always packed. There's always so many people there. And so we really didn't know what to expect today. So, following CDC guidelines, they're telling everybody now if you go outside the house to wear a mask. And so Kimberly here made us some masks. And we had those on because obviously we didn't want to take any of the N95 masks away from anybody
Any
that needs
healthcare
them.
workers, right?
And so we kind of made our own just to kind of help protect us. And it's not so much to get protect you from anything in the air, I guess. It's more so to keep you from touching your face if you touch something else.
Well, and it's to help limit your ability to pass it on to someone else if you are infected.
Yeah. And so they did tell us that they would be stopping people at the door, screening people before they let you in. They're limiting, and basically it's the patients and one caregiver when you go in the hospital. So, but again, not having been since all this has started going on, we really didn't know what to expect.
It was pretty intimidating.
But I'll tell you, man, when we pulled up to Emory, they have got their stuff together. We pulled up, and I really expected there'd be a line for them doing the screenings before we even get into the cancer hospital there, and there wasn't. I mean, when we pulled up in our car, somebody greeted us at our car. We rolled down the window before we even got out of the car. We went through the screening right there in our car, so had something been of alarm, we wouldn't even have gotten out of our car, and they would have told us what to do from there.
Right.
But then we was able to get out, go straight in. We went straight into the lab. And normally when you go in the lab, you kind of go up to a kiosk there and you type your name in and everything, and they hand you off a beeper, and then you kind of wait your turn, and when the beeper goes off, kind of like at your favorite restaurant, then they'll take you back and do the lab work.
Not today.
Not today. They had all that cordoned off, and so you actually went up and you stood 6 feet away from a nurse that keyed your stuff into the computer, so that way nobody was touching keyboards, nobody's touching the beepers or anything like that. And so it was very efficient. The waiting room, and they actually ended up staggering a lot of the appointments. And so normally where people kind of a lot in there at once, they had contacted other people and kind of talked them into kind of moving their appointments out. And so there was really, I mean, there was not a lot of people in there.
It was seamless. The only difference that we experienced was there was not as many people. And usually I go back with Randall when they do the blood draw, and today they were only allowing patients to go into the back with the nurses and doctors.
Yeah, so she actually waited outside the lab waiting area, kind of out of the way of everybody, and kind of waited out there until I got done.
A good 12 to 15 feet away from anybody.
Yeah. And then when I went down to the infusion center and the way it's set up, those chairs are always, they're probably 8, 10, 12 feet apart. And so down there, she was able to go with me and sit there with me while I was having my infusion done.
Right.
And it was kind of pretty standard down there, other than there wasn't as many people down there.
Right.
And so I applaud Emory for what they did. It was kind of scary, before the phone call from my doctor last Friday, we was even kind of wondering, would they push my appointment off? Would they delay my treatment? And would that cause problems if I didn't get the treatment on the normal routine? Because I'm really on a real strict schedule. Every 4 weeks to the day is when I have my treatments. And so, we didn't know if that could be pushed off. Obviously, when we talked to the doctor, she advised us not to do that. Right. But then also, it was just as scary to go down and get that treatment, because you go into the hospital and you hear the numbers out there, guys. And so we didn't know what to expect, but I mean, it was awesome. We didn't really come into close contact with anybody except the one nurse that actually put the IV in.
Right.
Now, or two nurses actually. When I went to the lab, when they did the blood draw there, they tried to go ahead and, they did go ahead and put in the IV in there. Normally they just do the normal blood draw with just the stick. But today they was trying to be more efficient, and so she went ahead and put the IV in and left it in for me to go downstairs for the immunotherapy. Now,
trying to save him from having to be stuck again.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. I get stuck enough as it is. Unfortunately, I don't know what happened by the time I got from upstairs down to downstairs. I don't know if I bent my arm. I'm sure it's something I did, nothing that the nurse did. But anyways, when they went to go to flush it downstairs, it blew out. And so they had to re-stick me again, and then that was not a good vein. It blew out. I've only had that problem one time before. And not that it's it's painful, not that I'm complaining or anything like that, but just to be open and honest with you guys of what happened today. But third time was the charm. They switched arms, got the other one. It was a great vein, and we was able to go through the whole immunotherapy process without a hitch after that. But really, those two nurses is the only ones that came in close contact with us. And of course, they always, anytime, even before this epidemic, follow protocol with PPE, everything's sterile, obviously, all the needles are sterile and everything like that. And so that was nothing to be of a concern from my standpoint, anyways. And so they're very professional there. But the whole getting in the hospital, the waiting in line, you know, all that, they just did a wonderful job.
Yep.
I can't say enough about how well Emory was prepared for that.
We were very, very impressed.
You see on the news, you know, all these other people, you know, stand outside hospitals, be checked to get inside the hospital, and all these long lines and all these people so close together. Not at Emory. They had it down to a science.
It was amazing.
Now, the other fun thing is, you know, we obviously, you know, driving into downtown Atlanta normally is very heavy traffic.
Extremely.
And so, you know, our doctor did tell us on Friday, you know, that traffic has not been as heavy. And since we did the doctor's appointment, we could come in a little later, so it allowed us to go in an hour later than what we normally do. And but I'm telling you, man, when we rolled down the interstate and we got close to Atlanta,
it was eerie.
Yeah, it was very surreal. I'm a big Walking Dead fan, and I'll tell you, if you watch that first season of Walking Dead, where he rides in on the horse into the CDC, it was almost like that, except we was in a car and not on a horse.
Yeah.
But I mean, there was virtually no cars on the interstate. Good bit of truck traffic, thank goodness, because again, those truckers are the ones keeping us fed.
For sure.
And keeping us supplied with what we need. But man, very very little traffic at all. And it's pretty ironic because we actually passed by the big CDC on the way to go to Emory Winship.
Yes, we
did. And so, you know, that I kind of had that flash in my head when we went by there, and there was no traffic.
We kind of had the apocalypse moment there.
Yeah, you know, normally, you know, there's a lot of public transportation in Atlanta, and I know it's still running. I saw the buses, but you didn't see hardly anybody out there waiting at the bus stops.
Right.
You didn't see lots of people on the sidewalk. It's a very pedestrian place when you get down there. Sorry about the train noise. We're not too far from train tracks here, so. But you know, to not see a bunch of people on the sidewalks, because, you know, the Emory campus is very large down there, and so a lot of people, you know, bike, walk, run,
scooters.
Yeah. And you didn't see anybody, so it was pretty crazy.
It was creepy, kind of.
And you know, that's where I guess I have a little frustration at, is because we come from a much smaller town where our hometown is, and I'm just not sure people up here are truly getting it.
Yeah, I'm not sure they take it very seriously, and that's very troubling for us.
Yeah, I mean, when we went out up here, the order went into effect last Friday. The streets here were still full. I mean, we still see neighborhoods.
Oh, the parks.
Lots of people out
people
together.
People are still in the parks playing. We still see people, you know, having parties at their homes.
And so it's very troubling.
Sad.
And I'll roll some footage of this while we're talking here, and I'll show you the difference between Atlanta and, you know, I don't care where you're from, you can kind of get the gist of how big Atlanta is. And then we rode back into town. On the way home, we passed by, you know, our town, the area here, and so I just flipped the camera on just as a comparison. And you go by Lowe's, and there are people waiting in line
with their children.
Yeah. I mean, come on, you know, I understand some of those people may have been contractors that had jobs to do where they're not direct contact with people. I get that, but kids in line at Lowe's, no, I don't agree with that at all. But anyways, not to start any political arguments or any kind of arguments for that matter, but it was just a little disturbing. To be honest, I was a little disappointed in our hometown on that they're not taking it more serious. And again, if Atlanta is something, a city as big as Atlanta can figure out a way to get through this, so can everybody else.
Definitely.
And, you know, that's kind of my ending message on this video is, you know, everybody needs to be doing their part. I know it stings.
We don't like it any more than anybody else out there. I mean, Randall in particular goes stir crazy here.
I haven't, you know, I haven't hardly left this house in over 3 weeks, probably going on a month. I couldn't tell you the last time I've been in a store. I mean, seriously, guys, it's probably been a month.
Yeah.
Just because of the cancer, my doctor did tell me on Friday that, you know, I am in a.
You're in a higher risk category just by having cancer, it automatically makes you somewhat immune compromised.
Yeah, and you know, I'm doing immunotherapy, so I'm not as compromised as somebody going through chemo currently.
Right.
But she still strongly advised me. She said, you know, do not get around anybody.
Well, and it's uncomfortable. I mean, I've been doing all of our shopping for us, but it's a different kind of experience. I go into town with a direct list, which I've always done, but you go to the store and you try to find the things that you need, and resources are very limited out there.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I get home, I disinfect everything, disinfect myself, change clothes and everything before I ever come into contact with Randall, just to be on the safe side.
Yeah, it's almost like she comes in and goes through a decontamination chamber,
Yes.
changes everything, and then we can interact.
It's
So.
not fun, so we totally understand. We get it, and we know what it's like to sit at home and be stir crazy, but we really do feel like if everyone would just do this for just a couple of weeks,
Yes.
that we could get this thing nipped in the bud and things could start turning around and our economy could start back up again.
And that's a technical term, y'all. Nip it in the bud.
Yeah, nip it in the bud.
Yeah, that's a southern thing. So. But again, I mean, on the serious note, if we can just get through this, guys, everybody work together, get this behind us so that we can get all of our neighbors and family and friends back to work,
Yes.
and try to get back to some kind of normal. I know normal don't exist.
Well, and there will be
But-
a new normal on the other side of this, but we need to get to a point where we're healthy enough to start that.
Yeah, there's a lot of people out of work. I watch the job numbers every day. You know, I talk to friends, neighbors around here, family. There's so many people out of work right now just because everything is shut down. And I do think that's the right decision.
Yes.
I think we have a wonderful president. I think we have wonderful leaders in place
For sure.
that are trying to do the best thing for us. And so I completely agree with them. But on the flip side of that, we got to get back to work as a country.
Yes.
You know, we need to get back to making goods. That's what we're good at. You know, we're strong.
And after this, buy American. Well, what it really just boils down to is we need to band together and be united and help each other get through this.
Absolutely.
Simple point.
And like I say, you know, if you don't agree with us, you're still our friend.
For sure.
That's not the way we roll. We're not going to unfriend somebody. We're not going to not talk to somebody or be mean to somebody because they think differently than us. Because again, that's what makes America beautiful, guys. And so, on that note, we'll close this video, wrap it up. Hope that gave you a good update. For you guys that are staying at home, you know, again, we had to get out today, had to go in Atlanta, so maybe that'll give you, you know, a little update on what's going on in Atlanta if you want to know. I think they're doing a wonderful job down there. It was very nice to see, even though it was a little surreal, it was nice to see that many people are coming together to try to
Yes.
make this country get through this and be stronger for it. So,
And seeing so many people work together for one common goal is pretty amazing.
yeah. So you guys stay safe, stay hunkered down.
Yeah.
Georgia Bulldog thing for anybody out there that's a Georgia Bulldog fan. And we'll see you again next week. We'll keep trying to entertain you as much as we can. Again, I'm not getting out much, so some of these videos are getting tough. So we hope this gets behind us soon. We're ready to get back in the RV and get to traveling.
For sure.
And hope to show you guys a lot of new entertaining stuff. So,
Yep, and as always, guys, you know, we love you guys and we appreciate you so much for watching our videos and, you know, watching our channel. Don't forget to subscribe. It helps us out so much when you just hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to click on that bell. It'll give you a notification anytime we put a video out there. And so we appreciate it.
yeah, if there's anything we can do for you guys, let us know. Let us know in the comments.
And just a little side note, we know that we're shooting this video before Easter, but it's going to hit the YouTube channel on Easter Sunday. So we hope all of you guys had a fabulous Easter. And we hope that you enjoyed your worship services at home. And just know we're thinking about you.
Yeah, and we will get through this, guys. See you next week.
Bye.